Hello once again, and Tony here with a review of the sequel to the Rugrats movie, and that is Rugrats in Paris, which was released back in November 17th, 2000. The film was directed by Stig Bergqvist and Paul Demeyer. It was once again produced by the creators of the show, Arlene Klasky and Gabor Chupo. It was written by J. David Stern, David N. Weiss, Jill Gorey, Barbara Herndon, and Kate Boutier. It was edited by John Bryant, with music by Mark Mothersbaugh and many other composers. Now, I first saw this movie ever since I was about 9 years old, when it came out on VHS, back in 2001. And I was pretty much impressed with the film, and this was a film that I had a lot of fun watching. Mostly because, when you think about it, it introduced new characters, and not to mention the songs were actually pretty catchy for the time. And, it seemed like it was actually a lot more fun than the first movie. Now, let's just see how well this sequel holds up. Does it hold up well? Or does it, not keep up with the times? Let's find out. Now, story-wise, I'd have to say that in comparison to the original film, this one has a smoother storyline. It doesn't jump cut from plot point to plot point, but it just flows smoothly and at a fair rate. It also is, well-paced as well, and, it's actually a lot more enjoyable. I mean, at least there's a point there. At least there is one point that needs to be focused, and even the gravity of how Chucky misses his mom and even wants a new mother actually is even present in this movie. Now, the one thing that I'm not crazy about is pretty much the title. I mean, let's think about this. You've had a majority of the film that has ninjas in it, has a Japanese-themed princess, and a Japanese-themed theme park, and a lot of things that scream Japanese, like sumo wrestlers and sushi, and many other things, like even like certain characters wearing kimonos. Now, for a movie that's called Rugrats in Paris, we only get to see only a teensy bit of Paris, especially when the DeVilles, the Pickles, and, basically all the other families come to Paris. And, we only get to see the Champs-Élysées, the Arc de Triomphe, the Eiffel Tower, and just the Notre Dame Cathedral. But only a little bit. We mostly get exposed to the Japanese-themed theme park, which is that of Euro Reptar Park. And you even have a Japanese person in the form of Kira, and especially that of her daughter, Kimi Watanabe. And you even have a Japanese boss, which is in the form of Mr. Yamaguchi. And like I said, those 3 sumo wrestlers / karaoke singers. Yeah, it seems as though that this film could have been entirely set in Japan, more specifically in Tokyo. So, for a movie called Rugrats in Paris, it kind of feels a little bit misleading because you only get to see a little bit of Paris, but you get to see more of these Japanese-themed theme parks, Japanese-themed parades, Japanese-themed restaurants, like the sushi bar, and basically a lot of other things that scream Japanese. But still, despite that, its story is a lot more smoother in terms of its flow, and we really get to see how much Chucky does miss his mom and how he would love to have a mom that does look like a very gorgeous and beautiful princess. And we also get to see some of the characters grow, though not all of them. But still, like I said, despite the fact that this could have all taken place in Tokyo, it's still quite enjoyable. And there were a lot of fun moments here and there. Another thing that I'm not really crazy about is, Spike's arc, because it's just him, going around the city and then meeting up with a poodle. And that's just pretty much it. that story arc could have been like disposable at best, or probably would have just kept in, but only just for like only one moment, and that would have been it. But despite, like I said, despite that, the story still flowed well, and it was still a very enjoyable ride, even though I'm not also crazy about the constant poop, pee, fart, and other gross out jokes. Well, I'm not always crazy about them as well, even though the funny thing is that I also like Ren and Stimpy. But still, it's actually pretty good. The animation, I'd have to say, is actually, it still maintains that quality. It still maintains its very wonderful quality. And especially when it comes to the theme parks, oh boy, did they go all out with the animation. And especially with Chucky's dream sequence, in which he dreams like he's a famous martial artist who kicks a whole lot of ass. And I thought that dream sequence was just well done. But I think the biggest highlight in the animation definitely has to be the theme park. You get to see a lot of these cool rides, almost reminiscent to a lot of the theme parks that you see, like Disneyland or Knott's Berry Farm, or like a lot of theme parks. You could really tell that the people behind this sequel, or even this movie, have went all out in terms of researching like how these theme parks stand, and basically put in a lot of thought and a lot of energy into making something that is extremely vivid and extremely exciting. And even the musical theater scenes in which Reptar is comforted by a princess is also gorgeously done as well. And, well, I'd have to say that the animation was pretty stunning, even though there are people that are not always fans of the character designs. But regardless, it's a small price to pay, but it's still a very gorgeous looking film, and it's just still exciting to look at as well. So it's definitely also a feast for the eyes. Then we get to the music and the soundtrack in general. Now, I'd have to say that the music is a slight step up from the original. The highlights being the I'm a Bad Girl song sung by the 3 sumo wrestlers plus Angelica. Here Comes Chucky Chan. And like I said, those are 2 of my most favorite songs in the film. We even have like music from the 2000s like Who Let the Dogs Out. And we even get treated to Jean-Claude singing the tune of La Donna Mobile, even though it's obvious that he's a baritone and not a tenor. But still, the music is definitely, I'd say, a step up from the original. It manages to do very well, and, well, even though I may not always care for that aspect, it's still rather enjoyable to listen to, and it still manages to bring a smile on my face. The characters are actually still pretty good. I mean, Tommy is still the leader. This is pretty much his arc as well. I mean, this entire film does focus a lot on him, on how he has to, like, make sure that he has to face his fears and even find that one person who's gonna mean well to him for the rest of his life. So this is almost like his story as well. And it also goes to show how much of an interesting journey he goes through. Even to find out that, yeah, Coco LaBouche was not even the right mother for him. It was basically Kira all along. Even his dad, Chaz, even kind of goes through an arc himself. He always thought that Coco might be the one for him, but it was mostly because, well, Kira basically helped Coco. And Chaz was kind of oblivious to the fact that maybe Kira did have feelings for him after all. So he was basically someone who's kind of been led the wrong way, but he's still a very good character on his own. Dale, I'm not too crazy about his characterization in the film this time, but oh well, at least he manages to not really do anything at all, but I'm not really crazy about his character in the film. He doesn't really do that much at all. I mean, Angelica, I'm actually thrilled at how much development she ended up getting in the film, especially when Chucky felt totally down on himself and how like Chaz is going to end up marrying Coco. Angelica ended up being there to comfort him, and I thought that this was definitely her shining moment. Phil and Lil are still your classic Phil and Lil. Susie, just like in the original movie, she doesn't even do much and she's only in for like one scene. And the same can't really be said in this one. She's just there with the marriage between Grandpa Lou and the now Grandma Lulu. And that's just pretty much it. And she's just there before the the babies plus Angelica leave for Paris with their parents, and she's just there to give Angelica a snide remark in French to her, which also hints at the fact that she does know several languages. And Coco LaBouche, who is the main villain of the show, while she does have very interesting motives when it comes to wanting a higher position, I'm not really crazy for her as a villainess. Her intentions, while like well thought out, and while she does want a certain amount of power by being hired a lot more by her boss, I'm totally not crazy for her as a villainess. She does have good motives, but I'm just not crazy for her as a villainess. Well, she's almost like other villainesses like Cruella de Vil and Madame Tremaine. She's nothing special, but at least she's definitely enjoyable to watch. Her underling, Jean-Claude, well, he's okay as a sidekick all overall. With Mr. Yamaguchi, he doesn't even get enough screen time. We also don't know how he got from Tokyo to Paris. It's kind of sporadic when I think about it. And, well, in terms of Spike and his new girlfriend Fifi, I mean, their love story was kind of cute, but I just didn't really get into that. So overall, the characters are actually really okay in this movie, some showing a lot of development, and even with the likes of Kira Watanabe, who starts off as Coco LaBouche's boss. Now, she seems like the everyday girl next door who seems to do no wrong and someone who's always going to be on the straight and narrow. While she does something that makes her seem like a noble character, she's not really that deep of a character at all. She's just someone who is a very nice lady, who is quite pretty, and someone who is very loyal, and someone who's the usual, like, nice lady of the group. And, well, even though Kira is not really a deep character, she's still entertaining from time to time. With Kimi Watanabe, I'm actually okay with her as a character. Of course, she may not be that unique because, as Chucky said, she's basically like a female Tommy. She's still pretty good. She has her moments where she can be a fun-loving person. I could see that there are like a lot of sparks of brilliance as well through her character. Like I said, the characters here are pretty good all throughout. And then the voice acting. They managed to keep the great quality of voice acting throughout this film. And I have to say that it's still really great voice acting. I mean, not only did you have E.J. Daly, Christine Cavanaugh, which is one of the last times that she ended up voicing Chucky, Dion Kwan as Kimmy, Julia Kato as Kira Watanabe, Melanie Chardoff, Jack Riley, Joe Alasky, Debbie Reynolds, who voiced Grandma Lulu, and Kath Soucie. You also had Susan Sarandon, who I really, really adore, as Louise from Thelma and Louise. Trust me, I'll get to that review much later in the future. She does a really great job portraying how greedy of a bitch Coco can really be, and she really chews up the scenery really well. So props to her. And then you even have the three sumo wrestlers voiced by once again, Tim Curry, but this time he's joined by Kevin Michael Richardson and Billy West, which I thought their trio was just so hilarious and it was just so fun seeing these voice actors really give the best of their performances, and I just definitely enjoyed their number. You even have a cameo from Charlie Adler and a few other cameos from the likes of Blake McIver Ewing and Adrian Franz and Shuko Ikune, who are also part of the chorus of the It's a Gooey World theme song. So overall, the quality of voice acting found in this film is still very excellent, especially when you have experienced actors like Susan Sarandon on the helm to voice this lusciously over-the-top villainess in the form of Coco LaBouche. So overall, this film is, quite frankly, better than the original, and it still holds up pretty well. Despite the issues that I've had with this film, like not seeing too much of Paris and all that, and even with Coco not being too much of an engaging villain, even though she comes off as a greedy villain, and with Kira and Kimmy not being too deep of characters, though their intentions are very well-meaning, I have to say that this film is better than the original. And for that, I give this a well-deserved 4 out of 5 stars. Go check it out if you haven't seen it already. And if you did, I'm sure that you're also going to rewatch it again. Because especially when it comes to the animation that has totally upgraded, and the biggest highlight was definitely seeing the Reptar theme part, which I definitely enjoyed. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in later where I review the last Rugrats theatrical film. That is Rugrats Go Wild. Now, I'm not totally enthusiastic about this film, but oh well, what to do. So until then, see you later, everybody.